So on today's video, it's been smoking hot. I'm not doing a lot of work outside. I'm gonna show you my bike here quick, show you some of the work I've done to that, and I'm gonna talk about budget on my car. This is one of the most budget-friendly cars you could possibly build if you can put a little bit of time and effort into it. I'm going to break down what I've actually got into this car, what it's going to cost to finish, and I think we're going to take my Harley for a rip. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I know this is a horribly boring video for some people, but it's something I wanted to talk about. So do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, do the whole YouTube thing, and let's just get at it. As of this year, I will have been licensed for a motorcycle for 25 years, and I put a lot of miles on bikes. I've had a few pretty nice rides over the years, and my preference has always been to choppers, but you know, I always wanted a Harley. I wanted an old shovelhead though, but prices are through the roof. So year before last, I bought this. It's a 2019 Harley Fat Bob with the 114, and I love this motor. I didn't want an Evolution or a twin cam, but I really like these M8 motors, so I can't leave anything alone, and these sound like sewing machines out of the factory. So I went to my buddy's shop, Backdoor Fab, and Christmas before last we spent 2 days in the shop and we hammered out a set of pipes, which makes it sound much more like a Harley. And I wanted something that was kind of board tracker-ish. It's all stainless. I'm about to pull these pipes off and get them sanded evenly and polished out. There's grinder marks and they didn't color up equally, and the battery's shot right now. I got a new battery sitting in the office for it, so I'm going to pull it off, polish the pipes up properly so they can recolor themselves. And this was a fun project. We went all the way from the head back. We reused nothing, and this muffler looking contraption, I bought all the stainless bits from Performance World in Canada here, and this piece here is actually a piece of the, what is it, 1 3/4 pipe that I actually split in the middle. Points basically touched here, and we spread it out, mitered the ends here, and then added this filler plate. And on the inside, I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. Maybe. Inside is a piece of the smaller pipe with, you know, it's about 8 inches long. It's got 32 5/8 holes in it, and it's capped on the end, so if you extend a nightstick up into it, it bottoms out. It appears to be a baffle. It does shut it up a little bit, but it sounds pretty amazing. So much fun with these pipes. But I found when I was taking the wife out on a ride, every once in a while I dump the clutch into second and it should almost fall off, so I built a sissy bar for it. You know, plasma, or cut on the plasma table, just a couple of side plates bolted up to the fender struts, and bent a piece of 5/8 steel rod. Eventually I'm going to get some bits powder coated on this thing, and while I was at it, I took off the stock pegs. The mount was actually the mount for the muffler, and the muffler's on this thing too, and I built a new set of pegs which are actually crash bars as well. There's a threaded hole here, so I'm going to make some aluminum ends, one there and then one on the other side. I've got size 14 feet and wanted some better pegs, so we found these cheapy dirt bike style anodized aluminum pegs, which I've got spare set screws. These actually all need to come out because they need to be Loctited, but I wanted a little bit extra width, so I machined that bit on the lathe out of a piece of round bar aluminum, and then literally just shaped it with a grinder, you know, something that I could bolt in, give me a little bit of width. And I built a set of crash bars for the front. which has a shield in it, basically protecting the oil cooler on this thing. I tend to ride this thing like a dirt bike, and you can see where it's all rusting from stuff being sprayed up onto it. So this thing's kept all of that out of my oil cooler. This winter I'm actually going to build a set of Z-bars out of 1 3/4 tube, big beefy chopper style Z-bars. But other than that, I haven't done much. I might do a cam on it this fall or next year, and I want a better seat. The factory seats suck, as well as the factory tires. I don't know what Harley was thinking, but the tires on this thing are just horrible. No traction, but brand new Avon Cobra Chrome. I love these Avons. They're super grippy, and I love the tread pattern on them, but they work really well. So that's going to get swapped in the next week, and put the battery in, and put this thing back on the road. It's been off the road for way too long, but that's this week's project. Well, it's not perfect, but I had forgotten how hard it is to stand stainless, so it's going to go back on the bike for now until I can get a proper polishing wheel and buff these things a whole lot better on something bench mounted instead of my 4.5-inch grinder and a drill. Okay, so I know everybody wants to see fab work, but I wanted to talk about this for a minute, and kind of give people a rundown on what this thing is actually costing me, because I don't know about everywhere else in the world, but around here, like, guys want $1 million for cars. If I had started with a complete 2-door 39 with everything, you know, I've seen rolling chassis that need all of the work for $6,000-8,000. I can't afford that, and they're not super common even at that. So if we break down the actual money into it, I mean, I'll talk about the other car another day, but this one in particular, and I'll try and throw some pictures in the corner up here, probably up here, I don't know, showing what I started with. So I mean, this car started with a dumb idea because I had the leftover parts from my 39. So the cowl here came from the other car. It was cut off and removed for the 40 cowl that's on it. And so this cowl was free. This roof came from that car as well. It was free. These doors, I paid $40 for to swap meet a couple of years back, and I started fitting them up to my other car. Then I bought the 40 parts car, and they were much nicer doors. They fit the car better. They were in way better shape. So I changed to those doors. So I can either look at it as these doors cost me nothing on this project because it was a failed experiment on the other one, or they were $40. The rear section of this car was destined to be thrown away. The 4-door rear quarters, the trunk lid, all of that. That was sheet metal that I was pretty much ready to load into my truck to get it out of my way. So I'm not counting as an expense because I got my value out of the parts that went onto the other car. The hinges in this car came off these doors and my 40 doors. They were free. The rocker plates came out of my neighbor's backyard. They were free. All the metal I've been patching with, all the shelving material that's powder coated, they came out of my garage. I didn't even have the uprates for them. That was free. You know, the fenders that I've been patching the roof with and the roll pan, that was all free because that came off of the parts car. Literally, other than the doors,
What I have into this is almost, well, a little better than 3/4 of a sheet of 18 gauge, 16 gauge. I'm not even sure. I paid $80 for the sheet. I used part of it on my other car, but we'll round it up, call it a whole $80. If we count the doors, I'm $120 in. My flapper wheels are leftovers that came out of my toolbox that were pretty much burnt out. The cutoff wheels I'm using, I bought them a 20 pack for $5. I've gone through 3 packs, so $15. We're up to $135. Some sandpaper and stuff, probably $5 worth. Honestly, I buy wholesale everything. $140 total. I've gone through 2 rolls of welding wire, or no, 1 roll of welding wire. I just swapped to a new roll. That was $25 plus some tips, another $5, $30. So that brings me up to $170. All of the metal I've been using for bracing is uprights from a different set of shelves that I don't have the shelves for. It's all been recycled. All in, if I count every penny, including the consumables, which nobody does. As this car is sitting behind me, I am $170 into this car. And it currently isn't in as bad of shape as some of the shells that I've seen available for thousands of dollars. I'm going to go down and build my frame. It's going to cost, my cost, probably $100 to $150 worth of plasma cut plates, plus a $250 stick of 2x4. Say $150 and $250, that's $400. That would bring the total up to $570, and add in some rubber for some body mounts and some bolts. And with this sitting on a frame, I should be into it for about $600. From there, this is a car at $600 that I've eliminated most of the important almost all the important cancer that's been chopped, suicide doors, yeah, I've got latches on the way that I picked up for $70. What's that bring me up to? 670. Starting to lose count. I should have written this down as I go. Yeah. If I scavenge the rear end parts, and I'm going to pick up a beam axle, I know I can pick one up for $100, $200. Some used airbags for all it matters. I've already got the control valves. I could essentially have a rolling chassis under $2,000, and all I need is a drivetrain and wiring. Realistically, this car should be on the road for between $3,000 and $4,000 total. It won't be fancy paint. It'll have bomber seats. I've programmed those in another video. It's not going to have huge horsepower. It's going to have a cheap oddball motor. It's not going to have electronics. There'll probably be, an 8-circuit. Wiring harness is probably going to be tons. Other than my lights, it's not getting a stereo. It's not getting anything it doesn't absolutely need. And I mean, a running, driving hot rod, rat rod for, say, under $4,000. When a chassis, a starter, I can buy a donor car for $6,000-8,000. We're kind of halfway the cost of what a lot of people start with driving down the road. So it's a car that I can drift on logging roads. I can let my kids drive. If one of them happens to put it into a post in the Tim Hortons drive-through it won't hurt me nearly as bad as if I was starting with a much more expensive car. Yeah, it's something that I can just go out and enjoy and not have to think about. So I kind of wanted to lay that out. I'm going to try and keep a running tally. You know, as I spend money on the car, I'll try to update it. I'll go through the video, I'll write everything down, I'll keep tabs on it. But I just wanted to say, like, if you got a little bit of skills, I mean, it didn't have to be built this way. Everything could have been squared off. It could have been much simpler than I'm doing a lot of it. Realistically, it can be done a couple $100s at a time. You could drag it out over swap meets, and you can do it for a couple $1,000s. And I mean, I'm going to prove that by the time this car is done. And on that, that's where I'm going to leave this. Monday, I got a cool CAD video coming up. I'm going to show everybody how I'm going to build a custom grill for this car. Break down how I'm programming it, what I'm doing. I'll have another video on Wednesday. Yeah, I've got some stuff going into the car. The weather's supposed to cool down a little bit. It's been absolutely unbearable out here. The downside to working outside is that some days I'm fighting the rain, some days I'm fighting the heat, and unfortunately I just can't shelter from the heat. So we're going to enjoy some time at the lake and the river, and maybe take the Harley out for a rip. But yeah, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, do the whole YouTube thing. Show some love for burnouts, and I'll see you on the next one, and I promise it'll be much more interesting.
Sure didn't take long for those pipes to color up, and I just can't bring myself to throw away a good tire, so she done.